I'd like to welcome in now to talk more about the trial, what we've seen, what we've heard, and what at times has certainly been very graphic. Attorney Rachel Fiset, managing partner at ZFZ Law. Rachel, great to see you again. How critical is Cassie's witness testimony in all of this?
Cassie is really the link, and she started this, some might say, through her civil suit against Diddy that was resolved immediately upon its filing. But the salacious allegations therein may have gotten this ball rolling as far as the criminal prosecution. She is also the victim on that videotape that is now widely seen and been widely seen by the jury at this point in the trial. But what that does is really corroborate the stories about what Diddy was doing. And so they are really juxtaposing her testimony with the video to make her very credible. They are really focusing on her credibility, and they will move on to other witnesses that will also corroborate what she's saying. But with the video, Cassie Ventura becomes the star witness.
And Rachel, you spoke about credibility. How do you think the fact that Cassie is more than 8 months pregnant, how do you think that is potentially impacting the jury?
Well, if it tells you anything, the defense did try to have her seated prior to the jury walking in so that the jury would not focus on her pregnancy. So I think the pregnancy makes her more of a victim. It's impossible a little bit to separate her vulnerable state as an 8.5-month pregnant woman, along with her testimony. She is crying. She is severely disturbed by what she's saying. And she is a survivor at this point who has obviously moved on and developed a different life. And I think none of that will be lost on the jury.
Yeah, because, it's already such a difficult stage of pregnancy. Do you think the prosecution is laying out its case in a logical manner? I mean, how high is the bar for that side?
They are certainly laying out the case that he was abusive. There's really, at this point, no denying that. I think their burden will be to show that this was in furtherance of sex trafficking and it was a criminal enterprise. So they are taking that at this point step by step, but they are starting with the abuse, which atmospherically no one can deny looks hideous. The allegations are hideous, and it's brutal stories of these freak-offs. It sounds depraved. So they are definitely starting with what the jury might think of Sean Combs as a person, and then they are moving to the fact that she was coerced and that all of this was part of a sex trafficking criminal enterprise.
All right, Rachel. So I want to flip to the other side of things now. I'd like to listen to a bit of what 90s music producer Suge Knight, who is currently in prison, said last night. He called into Chris Cuomo's show. Let's listen to what he said.
I still feel that Puffy's going to be all right and have a fair shot at it because Puffy he's not a dummy. And I'm quite sure somebody's going to talk to those jurors and convince one or two of them, and that's all he needs is one. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a real exciting situation, but I think he's going to be all right.
Sure. Do you think he's going to be all right because someone's going to tamper with the jury? Is that what you're trying to say?
He got enough influence, and I'm quite sure. Don't seem like the prosecution is that bad against him. Don't seem like I think he got some favors with the government. I think they're going to show him a little leeway. It might not seem like it when it's all said and done, but I don't think he has nothing to worry about. I don't think he's worried because he's going to be federal. And if he gets convicted, Trump's going to pardon him.
All right. So for people wondering why is Suge Knight relevant to all this, back in the 90s, there was this whole, East Coast versus West Coast battle. So ironically, they were on dueling sides there because obviously Puffy being from the East Coast, Suge Knight from the West Coast. But anyway, in opening statements, he thinks that Puffy's going to be all right. But in opening statements, the defense did lay out that, Sean Combs may not be a decent guy. You may not agree with what he does in the bedroom, and there may be some level of criminal activity. We certainly saw the domestic violence, which he admitted to. But are these federal crimes? So far, which side do you think has the advantage, keeping in mind that the defense will still get to cross-examine Cassie?
I think that is the hurdle, as this is a racketeering charge, sex trafficking charge. As to sex trafficking, I think Cassie is incredibly important because she is. In her testimony, the prosecution is eliciting times where she could not leave. And basically, that's part of what will make the federal sex trafficking case. But that is going to be the hurdle. Was she kidnapped, moved across state lines for the purposes of sex inside of a criminal enterprise? And the defense is certainly going to harp on the fact that she had her own apartment, that she chose to be with Diddy, that she appears voluntarily to be submitting to these. So that's really where we're going to see the rubber meet the road here, is where they are going to say she was with him for a prolonged period of time and she chose to engage, even though she was in an abusive relationship.
Well, we will all certainly continue to watch and to pay attention to this one. Attorney Rachel Fiset, thank you.
Thank you.
Not to a big